All right, guys, so we are going to be starting our next module, and it is all going to be about fractions. And I will say one thing, this is actually one of my favorite topics to teach in 5th grade is about fractions, adding them, subtracting them, multiplying them. It's really fun. I really do like it. So what we're going to do is we are going to be plotting some fractions on a number line, but then we're also going to be drawing some models. These are things that we are going to have you do for a little bit of time so that you guys can kind of understand the concept of the fractions, understand where we're getting our answers, and then eventually you guys will not have to draw these pictures. But for right now, just kind of hang with us so that we can kind of understand what we are doing. So this says use the folded paper strip to mark points 0 and 1 above the number line, and then we're going to show 0 halves, 1 half, and 2 halves below it. So we're not going to fold our paper, but what we're going to do is we're going to start our number line at here for 0, and we're going to start our number line at 1. Okay, so of course, guys, if you guys look at this, you basically are kind of writing exactly what you see on that numerator as your tick marks of what you have. So if I have 0, this should actually, I should probably make this a little bit smaller. This will be 0 halves, okay? Then for 1 half, I'm going to show 1 half, so I'm going to be 1 tick mark. And then on this one, this is where I have 1, is where I'm going to write 2 halves. But of course, guys, what does 2 halves equal? 2 halves equals 1, okay? So what this says on this one is it says draw one vertical line down the middle of each rectangle, creating 2 parts. So I'm going to draw a vertical line. So it says to draw one vertical line. So I'm actually going to go ahead and draw a vertical line on all of my fractions, or all of my models here, okay? And it says shade the left half of each. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm honestly, guys, just right now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to start shading the left side of each one. Okay, because that's what it's telling me to do. I'm just kind of going through and doing exactly what it's telling me to do. Okay, and then it says partition the horizontal lines to show the equivalent fractions of 2/4, 3/6, 4/8, and 5/10. And we're going to use multiplication to show the unit. So on this first one, I have 1 half, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw one line to show that I am multiplying it by 2. So here's 1, 2, 1, 2. So what I've done is I've done 1 times 2 is going to give me 2. 2 times 2 is going to give me 4. So that's how I have 2/4. So I've drawn one line to show me that I'm going to make that equivalent fraction of 2/4. So the next one is I still have 1 half, and what I'm going to do is I'm actually now going to draw 2 lines. So I'm going to go 1, 2. Now, some of you guys are going to be like, well, why don't I multiply this by 2? Well, I'm not going to multiply it by 2 because how many parts do I have here? I have 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to multiply this times 3, and whatever I do to the numerator, I always have to do to my denominator. So when I multiply this out, I get 1 times 3 is 3. So guys, look at that, 3 parts that I have shaded. And then how many parts do I have altogether? Well, 2 times 3 is going to give me 6. Okay, so now I'm going to do the same thing. I have 1 half, and this time I'm going to show 4/8. So I need to make sure that I have 4 parts. Okay, so remember here's 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to have my fraction, and I'm going to have it 1 half, and I'm going to multiply the numerator times 4 and the denominator times 4. And when I do 1 times 4, I get 4. And when I get 2, because 1, 2, 2 times 4 is going to give me 8. Okay, so now I'm going to show this next one. It says 5/10. So I'm going to make sure that I have 5. Okay, so guys, if I look here, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parts. Okay, so I have 1 half that equals 1 half. And what did I do to that numerator? I multiplied it by 5. What did I do to the denominator? I multiplied it by 5. So 1 times 5 is 5. 2 times 5 is 10. And I get 5/10. So all of these, so here's my 2/4, my 3/6, my 4/8, and my 5/10. And all of these guys, if I simplify them down, all of those fractions are going to equal a half. Okay. This next one, it says to use folded paper. We're not going to, we're just going to use this number line. I'm going to mark the points of 0, and I'm going to mark the points of 1. And what I want to do is I want to show 0 thirds. So here's 0 thirds. I want to show 1/3, 2/3, and then remember guys, 3/3 equals 1. So here's my 1/3, and then here is my 2/3. Okay, so when you guys are doing this, you've always got to make sure you start off with your 0 and your 1, and then you need to kind of think, well, how many tick marks, how many lines do I need to draw on those number lines? So now what it says is it wants me to follow the same pattern as problem 1, but with thirds. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make 3 vertical lines. And when you guys are doing this, it is really important that where you guys are drawing these lines vertically and horizontally are matching up to what I am drawing, okay? And to show that 1/3, I want to shade in 1/3. Shade in 1/3. Shade in 1/3. Shade in 1/3. So I have 1/3, and I actually have 1/3, guys, on all of these. Okay, and so the first one, I'm going to split it into 2 equal parts. So guys, here's that 1 and here's the 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 1 times 2. I'm going to do 3 times 2, and I get 2/6. Guys, if you count this up, sorry that you guys can't see that. If you guys count this up, guys, how many do I have shaded? 2. Then how many do I have altogether? 6, and that's how we know it's equal. This next one, so if I've split this one into 2 parts, this one I want to split into 3 parts. So here's that 1, 2, 3 parts that I split it into. So I need to do my multiplication of 1 times 3 and then 3 times 3. 1 times 3 is 3, 3 times 3 is 9. Okay, this one, if you guessed, I'm going to split that into 4s. So guys, here's that 1, 2, 3, 4. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 1 times 4, and I'm going to take my denominator times 4, and I get 4/12. Guys, you can always go back and double check your work to make sure that the picture matches to what your fraction is. Then the last one, I'm going to split this into 5s. And if I count here, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I do have 5 different parts. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my numerator times 5, and I'm going to take my denominator times 5, and I get 5/15. Same thing here, guys. If you count those up, that is what you're going to get.